What a night last night. The Indianapolis Colts, led by Phillip Rivers and Nyheim Hines, and a special teams unit that was hunting Daniel's punts. Get a big W in the AFC South. Thursday Night Football has been filled with bad football games. Last night felt like it was going to be a great football game, and in the first half, it was close. Then in the second half, the Indianapolis Colts go for it 3 times in one drive on fourth down, much like they did in the first quarter, going for it 2 times on fourth down, and getting it, though, in the second half. Then they score. Then they get a shanked punt. Then they score again. Then they get a blocked punt. Then they score again. Then Jacoby Brissett getting paid $20 million. QB sneaks one in. Congrats to the Indianapolis Colts getting back on track, regaining dominance of the AFC South, and the Tennessee Titans having a lot to figure out with their team since losing Taylor Lewan. Now, this is a conversation that should be had, especially after the conversation we had yesterday with Taylor Lewan. He is an incredibly entertaining human being. He has a lot of tattoos. I think he has to add a Pat McAfee Show 2.0 tattoo.
That's right.
I'm not 100% sure if we officially agreed to that or not, but he says he gets random things tattooed, so maybe that will pop in there into his body. And his right-hand man tattoo is one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my entire life. Maybe the hardest I've laughed on this show too, and I think in my head right there, I was just trying to cycle. Whenever I told him that the mustache wasn't his, because he did start claiming that he made the mustache tattoo or whatever, and I was like, whoa, Taylor, like, great minds think alike, and I've been doing that for 100 years or something like that. But because I've always wanted that tattoo, that was going to be my first tattoo. I was actually going to have Tim Howard do it, and then him immediately, perfect timing, going, yeah, but right hand man is mine. I'm like, yeah, that was just like such a moment. Like, I really enjoyed that. I laughed very hard and that whole thing. But them losing him, and if you take into account the conversation that we had with him yesterday and how jovial he is, it feels like he probably gets along with a lot of people. Losing that inside the locker room, problematic, okay? Having your leader, a person who is one of your best players and is also a big glue guy in the locker room, losing that guy in your locker room, problematic, especially if your offense is a run-first offense, but Ryan Tannehill's having a great year, offensive line. There's a lot of things that go into that, having that just paramount position group being one of your leaders of your team, and that's a left tackle and Taylor Lewan doing that. So not only off the field, him not being there, but on the field, he was an all-pro left tackle, and it has been problematic for the Tennessee Titans since he has left. They have not been the same team. Now, the Colts also have been very inconsistent. I don't think anybody knew what was going to happen last night. Everybody knew their defense was going to be good, but what type of Phillip Rivers would show up? I said yesterday and started kind of thinking about it, if the Tennessee Titans can't get any pressure on Phillip Rivers, that sumbitch, dadgummit, will stand in the pocket and just deliver the rock. And he did just that. He threw over 300 yards, had a touchdown last night. Our guy, Nyheim Hines, on his birthday. Happy birthday, Nyheim, by the way. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Nyheim. Congrats. 115 total yards, 2 touchdowns. That was one of the easiest predictions of all time. Normally, people are going to play well on their birthday. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting going forward about Nyheim Hines, if you're a Colts fan or watch the Colts at all, and by the way, I said this to Nyheim Hines, I was like, I don't think a lot of people know you exist, but here in Indianapolis, we are very appreciative because he's normally like the third running back that they work in. The third, and every time he gets on the field, he's a burst. Like, it is 21 gets the ball, something good's happening. So much so that to put him at punt return, he was not always a punt return for us. I don't know if he did that before, but it's because he got that quick twitch. Last night, I think he showed like, hey, maybe not third option, maybe not second option. Maybe you have me in the game. Every time he gets in, he's a burst, he's a spark. He has been that way since he got on the Colts. But last night, primetime game on his birthday, it really was like, hey, he's hot, let's keep feeding him. And they kept that going, where in the past, he'd come in, get hot, then they take him back out again, and then they bring him in as like a curveball whenever Jonathan Taylor or Wilkins or Marlon Mack, or I don't know, he wasn't there with Frank Gore, but there was just a litany of running backs that would always seem to get the majority, and then when he came in, it was like a spark, and then they go away from him, and then they go back to the original plan. Last night, he came in, was a spark, and they kept going to him. I think he has earned that. Okay, I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor hasn't. I think Jonathan Taylor's really good. I think Wilkins is very good. But I think Nyheim Hines, a guy who I think I like a lot more, especially after coming on our show, and anybody that can land a round-off McTwisty thing whenever you're in full pads probably should look at that guy being a great athlete. Yep. I think he earned, last night on Thursday Night Football primetime television, a lot more reps. I think he earned the Brock. And by the way, that might help the offense out a lot. If Nyheim Hines in that Indianapolis Colts offense becomes that, because their running game was not great, by the way, going into the game last night, even though they have a great offensive line. If Nyheim Hines becomes the guy, that offers you a lot of spark out of the backfield, a la Alvin Kamara. He can catch the ball, he can move, he can make plays in open space, and he runs hard. The Colts might have figured it out last night against the Tennessee Titans. Now, I'm not saying the Colts offense. I'm not saying that the Tennessee Titans defense is one of those defenses where you're like, okay, if you do well against this defense, you're going to be able to do well. But I think it is one of those defenses where you can kind of figure out, oh, what are we good at here? And this is kind of, I think what they figured out last night was obviously if we can protect Phil, we can do this. This Nyheim Hines guy is a spark. Michael Pittman Jr., he's very good. Let's hope he can stay healthy. I'm not 100% sure if he can. He is a rookie. He's already been hurt. I hope he stays healthy. He's good. T.Y. Hilton was getting loose a little bit. Mo Alley Cox in replacement for Jack Doyle, who was out with a concussion. He could have scored a touchdown last night. Philip Rivers chose not to throw him the ball. I mean, there is a chance that this Colts team can really go and take over the AFC South. And if they do that, good news for Philip Rivers, because everybody knows Tom Brady want to come here, and the Colts said absolutely not.